Hi, I'm Frank Shamrock, five-time undefeated UFC legend. I fought the greatest fighters in the world, and I fought everybody in the world, and I've beaten them all. But there's one thing I've never done. I've never fought at the Garden. That's my dream, man. Ali, Frazier, everybody's fought here. No Shamrock. Mixed martial arts, the greatest sport on earth. Bring it to the Garden, baby. New York's the biggest city in the world. They should have MMA.
My name is Miguel Angel Torres. I'm a bantamweight fighter for the WEC. I'm considered one of the best martial art fighters in the world. I'm here for the legalization of MMA in New York.
My name is Ariel Halwani, mixed martial arts reporter. The reason I love MMA so much is because I love the big fight atmosphere. I love talking to the fighters before the fights, after the fights, breaking it down, seeing what they go through.
I just want to ask you, you're here in New York, obviously, the state of New York, one of the few states that doesn't allow mixed martial arts. Do you feel a little slighted being here?
And you don't have any tattoos.
No tattoos, and a lot of people I know in MMA don't have tattoos
Well,
as well.
90% of the people in the audience wear tattoos.
Especially New York, a part of the country that is not so familiar with MMA just yet.
You know, I think the world is warming up to MMA.
I love talking to the fans about the sport. There's nothing like Saturday night when there's a big MMA fight, and I'm so blessed to be a part of it.
My name is Mark Ecko. I am the Chief Creative Officer of Mark Ecko Enterprises, and I mostly spend my time trying to be creative. I believe the greatest sport is the purest sport of man versus man, which is any combat sport. And I believe that the most modern realization of that is mixed martial arts.
I mean, it also could just be, yeah, I think like the branding could be here, and it could be much more about the event, you know, on the chest, I think.
When we at Ecko look for partnering or endorsing fighters, we're into endorsing guys that take a tremendous amount of pride in what they do professionally. Fearlessness, a certain amount of love for the purity of what they do is really important, and it should be easy to work with.
You knew the crowd would be here for Robin Good, the unbeaten pride of East Harlem, New York, originally from Puerto Rico. And Omar better start blocking some of those shots, or this thing might be over. Evil calls it over. Robin Good is the Bellator welterweight champion of the world.
I was born and raised in Spanish Harlem. It's uptown in New York City. You know, it's a pretty rundown, kind of gang territorial area. The way I felt after winning the Bellator tournament was completely ecstatic. I felt completely validated knowing that I've trained really hard and I put a lot of effort behind winning. Defending my title in New York would be a great feeling for me to do because I think it would give me a great, you know, reputation.
I'm Patrick Gote. I'm a UFC fighter, and we're in Montreal now. I was a boxer before, and after that I found MMA and I fell in love with that, so that's why I'm in MMA right now. Actually in Canada, the people understand more and more every day the sport. There are still places that it's still illegal, like in Ontario, but you know, we are very confident that MMA will be legal everywhere in Canada.
My name is David Loiseau, and I'm a professional mixed martial artist. I just fell in love with martial arts when I was 9 years old, and haven't stopped ever since. What I like so much about competing is you get to test it, to test your skills and your will out there.
My name's Conrad Pla, and I opened up TriStar in 1991. I had 26 pro fights, kickboxing rules. I was North American champ. I'd fought for a world title in '96. The Athletic Commission of Ontario seems very, very conservative and not moving on anything. The only thing they really allow is boxing. they're falling behind the times. I mean, nowadays it's everywhere. It's one of the fastest growing sports. And it's a pity that Toronto and Ottawa and all these places that could have shows aren't allowed.
El referee, Yves Levine.
MMA is illegal in Ontario basically because they interpret Section 83 that we have here in Canada differently than other provinces. Section 83 basically says that prize fighting is illegal in Canada except boxing under the supervision of an athletic commission or a government agency.
It's something to do with striking with the hands and feet with gloves that are less than 5 ounce or something to that effect. So realistically, you can put 10-ounce gloves and it'll be fine, you know? But then they say, no, that's not the case. You have to it doesn't make any sense.
Basically what we did to legalize that here in Quebec, we incorporate the term box into the name of the sport, the new sport. So we call it mixed boxing. So it's a mix of anything with box. So basically that's how we did it, because we were the first one basically to legalize the sports here in Canada.
When the kickboxing died down, the MMA rules were adopted. At the time there were shows in one of the Indian reserves nearby. And I think the government realized that if it wasn't going to be done legally here, it was going to be done semi-legally there.
My name's Peter Storm, and I run New York City's Underground Combat League. Well, being an underground promoter, I mean, first of all, my show isn't illegal, it's unregulated. And there's a very, very fine line that I walk, and I've been walking for about 7 years. And basically, you know, as long as I'm not breaking any obvious laws like selling liquor without a license, having minors at the show without a guardian, and paying fighters legally, I'm fine. I mean, I found the loophole.
My name is Matt Too Smooth Godfrey. I'm the current NABF Cruiserweight Champion and currently #2 in the world by the IBF. I love a lot of the mixed martial arts. It's a really good sport. It's you know, it's making a lot of noise right now, and you know, I'd love to see them collaborate with some boxing sometime in the future.
For a couple of years, I mean, it's always been talked about that MMA is going to become legal. The reason it hasn't is because the people who were in charge at the Athletic Commission, they were very old school. They had the mentality that boxing is king, and a spectacle like MMA isn't gonna come in and take any spotlight from boxing.
At least in Quebec for many years, it was people that were associated with the boxing who were maybe a bit hesitant to bring in a new sport that's directly competing with boxing. So I think even though the fans are quite evolved and I understand the sport and appreciate it, I think a lot of the top officials making decisions aren't.
I believe boxing and MMA can coexist. It's just a matter of being educated on what MMA is all about. I think we have to coexist with boxing. Boxing is never going to go away, but neither is MMA. MMA is one of those sports that it's pure, and that's what we're here for. We're here for entertainment, we're here for fighting, we're here for a sense of sportsmanship.
I think boxing would do well, a lot better, if they actually co-promoted shows with mixed martial arts.
We need to get MMA approved here in New York City, New York State. I think it's good for all sports, and I think it'll actually help boxing because some of the people who are involved in MMA need to come to the boxers to learn how to, you know, use their stand-up game. So I think it's important for both of them to collaborate.